I'm Joshua Voskamp, and I'm running for VP of Operations and Finance. So I understand this is probably a concern for a lot of students. Given that I have little background in student politics, the problems that Feds has, politics in no small part is what got us here. I feel I can work as a VP of Operations and Finance with little of the personal agenda or baggage I might bring if I had already had been involved with societies or clubs. Yes, that would definitely be valuable experience to understand how those organizations work. But simply by virtue of not having a background in student politics, I feel that I should not be disqualified from seeing a problem in Feds, runaway spending, and applying diligence and responsibility to try and do what I can to solve that problem. A lot of that would be student feedback. I'm aware that students that care know Feds exists, Imprint exists, but for the students that are apathetic or worse, dislike Feds, I'm interested to hear what they think of any changes I might try and implement. So specifically searching out the people that I know have been hurt by Feds in the past and asking them for feedback on what I've been trying to do and how I might be able to serve, empower, and represent the entire student body. To be honest, what information is available to me right now that I can share is only the public budgets and the auditor's reports that have been published on the Feds page, and the sentiments and anecdotal evidence I've heard from other people. I am aware that a lot of what students see are the front-facing services, especially commercial services. Those are not in any way my intention to cut those services and leave the administration fully funded. What I see is a problem that we've gone from 1.6 million in fees collected to 3 million in fees collected, and going from 327,000 in service salary spending to 1,038,000 budgeted for this year. And if students feel that Feds is serving, empowering, and representing them, I believe that spending is justified. But given that the majority sentiment I've experienced and heard from other students is screw Feds or something similar, we need to be much more aware of what value students are getting out of our spending and do our best to conscientiously eliminate what isn't providing value to students. It does exist, but it doesn't happen very frequently. So a large part of that would be marketing and finding groups that don't yet know they'd be interested in using the bomber for public events, and figuring out some sort of mutual agreement where they could use the bomber and we can get back some of that value for students. I'm aware Feds provides part-time positions to students. I see problems where, for example, the Feds used bookstore operates full-time hours throughout the entire term, and it does have extra hours at the beginning and end of terms, which makes sense because students need to buy or sell textbooks. I think it'd be beneficial for students looking for part-time employment to be able to work part-time there at the beginning of the term, or possibly full-time hours, and then as they get into the middle of the term, they get busy with assignments, and midterms they're able to limit that. That way we can more accurately reflect the value being provided to students and be responsible with the way we're spending. What a pet project means to me is someone like myself coming at Feds executive with an agenda of what needs to happen without listening to student feedback. The second part of it being spending student money on this project without ensuring that the student body sentiment is in favor of this project. This is some feedback we've heard that the couches in the SLC are kind of getting old. However, if we're not able to do this cost effectively, that's something that we would delay until such a time as it would be possible to do so without needlessly drawing on fees used instead of putting them towards more effective uses. I followed the money, and the more I dug and tried to understand how the money was spent, I got more and more concerned because 21% growth in service salaries compounded yearly isn't sustainable. Eventually that would take over the Fed's fee. If the general student sentiment is screw Feds and Fed's spending is increasing every year, there's a conflict there that has to be resolved somehow. I'd like to resolve that conflict.